Whoa. It's the illusion reporting from somewhere on spaceship Earth. I just picked this cantaloupe from the garden today and it's fantastic. So I'm gonna eat this cantaloupe with you and get you fired up, dude. Let's get fired up in the dream today. A lot of seeds, dude. It's amazing. It's trippy. I don't see how people don't see God in all this, dude. Like there's still actually, I don't know how anyone can be an atheist or agnostic. Well, I guess agnosticism, I guess I get a little bit more about God especially when they start growing their own food, dude. It's quite apparent how gnarly God is in all aspects of this reality. Look at that cantaloupe right there, dude. Boom, dude. I always think it's pretty rare to get it's my first decent, and this thing's fantastic. So this cantaloupe's making it all make sense today. It's this getting away from the grid and being a leader of your own reality. It's tough, man. It's a tough gig, dude. Because part of the big hustle is people convincing you that someone else besides yourself is going to lead you out of this insane reality we're experiencing. And it's totally up to you. And I can tell you, I just went through like a period of struggling. Like I'm eating this cantaloupe, right? Like the reward of, I don't know, years, dude, in a weird way. Like I left the city or the urban area. I don't think I ever really was a city guy, but Malibu is pretty urban even though you're in the hills, but the big myth of Malibu. But so I left in beginning of 22, right? And got up here and just been trying to figure it out for the last couple of years, building stuff and digging into the infrastructure and working with the sky clock and going around the sun a couple times and trying to pick up the rhythm of the natural environment and the thing. And so like this year, right, I kind of went big on getting the garden going, and the beginning of it was a struggle to like eat this cantaloupe. Like the cantaloupes would be getting munched, right? But a couple of them got through. A couple of them got through the wire, and here we are. And so when I sit here and I think about it and I eat it, I go, the interesting part was going full garden this year. I wasn't ready for like the understanding that nature was just sitting like right on the other side of like this little square I'm making, just going, looking at the abundance of the green, watery food, because all they really want is the water in it, right? I mean, we're in the high desert transition zone. I mean, the mountains are right there, but we're in the transition zone. And so the beginning of this spring, summer was like a struggle, right? And I suppose that's what it's sort of like when you're kind of being reborn into your new identity. There's no turning back at this point. Like, I think sometimes I threaten myself with that. Like there's some way out. Like, no, dude, this is the final stand. There's no one coming. There's no one coming to help you, save you. I mean, I guess I can tell you, like, you better get started. It's go time, but how long have we been saying that around here? But I think the thing that, like, even the people that tell you it's go time don't tell you is, like, it's gonna be a struggle. Sure, like, dealing with the new reality and the new aspect of what you're doing is like just a struggle on baseline. But I don't think anyone really talks about like the mental struggle. You know, everyone can tell you about doing push-ups and plant this and do that, but nobody really wants to talk to you about like the mental struggle of what this is, of that like a person that I'm doing, right? I don't know what anyone else is doing. I only know what I'm doing. I barely know what I'm doing. And what I can tell you is part of the mental struggle is knowing that you're basically reinventing the wheel. That part of the hustle was to convince human society to move themselves away from this. And then you get out there in the human society and you're totally dependent upon the trucks and the grid and the highways full of traffic and the products and just that whole weird thing. And then you get back here to try to do this and you realize how dependent you are on all the trucks and the grids and the freeways and all that stuff, even though you're out here in the country, because this isn't, as much as this is the natural way of life, we've denaturalized ourselves. So the natural way of life is this dependency on the grid thing. And to get out of that, it's like the mental awareness that like this is that gnarly, dude. And it used to just be second nature. And the reason it was second nature is because it was do or die, dude. Like you had to like pull it off. Like if you didn't get if your crop got wiped out 100 years ago, you were going hungry, man. You were going absolutely hungry. And so you didn't have a lot of time to like think about it or debate it or deal with your mental condition. You had to be like spiritually fit and mentally attuned. So coming back is like the real battle is this like you want a piece of this cantaloupe? You better get some, it's almost gone. Shorty likes the rinds. Yeah. Here. What's up, Mav? What are you doing, dude? Oh, that's good, right? You want some, Mav? Oh, he wants you to throw the ball for him.
Yeah, you get to just come out. Everybody wants balls.
Yeah, well. Yeah, it's like the chickens weren't taking any easier on me. What? I said the chickens weren't taking it any easier on me. They needed They got their own thing going on. So yeah, so you battle the duality, right? The thing of knowing that this is the way it should be, but you have all these like burned in deficiencies, man. And then you got to overcome that, and that's the mental struggle. The mental struggle. I was thinking you can go back. This is back. This is going back. And then you get here and you're like, oh wow, this is hard. And I'm not mentally in tune with it. I'm not mentally in tune with it. I have all the attachments to the old system, right? The fake system, the big hoax, the big hustle. And yeah, you still need that the big hoax and the big hustle to get by. Even out here, it's like, yeah, dude, I need you to buy some t-shirts, man. Oh, I apologize about that. I had my memory was full. I needed to clear out some videos, and then I got up and went and fed the cows with my wife, and then I noticed something had nibbled through the bark on the corner of my fig tree I'm starting over here, so I had to get in there and put some wire around it and put a little banana peel compress on it, dude. That was my thinking of it, to heal the wound. It didn't get through the next layer, just the bark, but man, the critters, they're looking for water anywhere. Hopefully the fig tree pulls it, but they seem pretty resilient. We'll see. More will be revealed. But there you go. That's what it is every time you turn the corner, something's made a move on what you're doing that you're dependent upon in this environment. And so I think that, like right now, like I didn't even like sweat it. I was like, all right, man, let me just try this thing. I'm gonna go put a banana on there and what do you call it? I'll zip tie it on there, and then I'll put some wire around it and like deal with it. I think a month ago I would have been bummed, like something attacked my new tree I'm trying to grow over there. But now I just go, it's part of the game, right? It's part of the game, and that's what I mean about the mental part of this is thinking that there's something to go back to. It really is. It's inversion. It's inverted pioneerism in a weird way, because it's not about stabbing westward and conquering new lands. It's kind of having gone down this weird thing they had built and realizing it's not going to work like that, and then reverting back. And the pioneer aspect is it's all mental now. It's adjusting your mind to the concept that you just have to go forward. And I mean, that's the standard issue, but I think that in this thing is because all the trappings are still around, right? Like I still get in a car, I drive around, I can go down to the big Chinese military bases and buy my bulk goods, and like for all intents and purposes, the system is still just full steam ahead out there. And I'm in here, and so there's like a duality going on, which is, I think, mentally it's hard to It's hard to rectify that discrepancy. Spiritually, it all makes sense. Spiritually, it makes sense because, like, spiritually, I know that that system is fake and will collapse and eat itself and is morally bankrupt and all that. Like, I know God is here. I mean, God's everywhere. God's in that thing too. But like, God is like right here. So I have to be willing to be totally dependent upon my relationship with God. And I think that's where mentally you forget, like, because you're attached to the old thing and you think that you can just, like, oh, I'll just pop out. Like, you know, it's crossed my mind, just, oh, we'll just go back. But there's nothing to go back to. Like, so it's that weird. I imagine it would have been like one of the, like, what the pioneers were about, like, you know, where they were coming westward and I don't know, maybe they'd left the city, right? And then you know, St. Louis, it would have been like St. Louis then, and they're crossing the Great Plains and they come up to like one of those forts, right? The military forts, which is like a safe refuge from the hostile environment and the whole thing. And then they're like, all right, we got to go out into the wilderness out there to start up the homestead. And they're just far enough where they can still see the fort behind them, which they know, but they also know they can't live there. It's sketchy and small, and they don't want to live there. And it's attached to the previous grid they had left before it, i.e. the cities or the East Coast or whatever it was. And they're going out into the wilderness, but there's that weird, like, moment where they still know they're close enough where they could just turn around and go back. And yet they know they can't because they've already removed themselves from the whole thing. They packed up all their stuff and they split and they left St. Louis, and now they're into their journey where their last human outpost is this cavalry fort out there on the river, man. And I think it's like a mental thing like that. Like, you know, you can't go back, but you can still see it back there. And you know that it's fat and lazy. You know that realistically you could go in and fat and lazy out. And you know, you'd still have to work and toil and do all that stuff. But like essentially it's easy because you can just, you know, all the stuff's there. And here you gotta grow it, man, or even if you don't gotta grow it, you gotta wait for it to show up here. Like, you know, it's like the thing when you're in there, it's like you get next day delivery. You have next day delivery here. It's just takes 3 days. Our next day delivery is 3 days, you know? So I don't really know what I'm getting at because I kind of lost my train of thought with the thing, but I'm gonna try to be doing this more often. It's just sitting here in the morning and sharing, I think, the mental struggle of this whole thing. Because physically it's you just get in the car, you leave, repack your boxes and leave. But mentally, the understanding that there's no going back to it. And the quicker we all realize it, the better off we are. I mean, that's why they are throwing you senior citizens in ties as that can't articulate sentences as your leaders, right? They're trying to show you, like, you have to leave the system. The system's collapsing. I mean, when the best they can put and I would argue, like, just on a side note, like, they're trying to help you by putting these ridiculous invalids in as your choice of puppet leaders is so that you can be like, oh, it's that ridiculous now. Like, yeah, it's that ridiculous. Like, it's that broken. Like, don't even waste any time waiting for it. Like, get out, get after it. Anyway, this is The Illusion, and links down below. It is a crowdfunded reality. So if you want to support the dream or help out the dream, the most important thing you can do is use the name tag and work on your own spiritual condition. But if you got the resources, man, there's links down below. You can order some t-shirts, artwork, send some crypto, some PayPal, whatever it is, man. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Let's make this happen. Anyway, this is the illusion. I'm gonna go dry out my cantaloupe seeds and you know, get them ready for the next crop. All right.